Okay, so now we have to switch into English.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for the audience for being here, especially in this very hectic Fitur that we are enjoying this year after these two pandemic years. And we have a top-notch panel today to talk about corporate travel. We're going to start presenting the participants first from right to my left. We have Ana Montejano Pastor, who is the International Sales Manager from Madrid Marriot Auditorium Hotel, very close to from IFEMA.
Thank you.
We have Salman Syed. He is the VP for Europe, Middle East and Africa Travel Solutions from Sabre. Thank you very much for being here. We also have Oscar Santamaría, who is the Marketing, Brand and Product Manager at Iryo, the railroad operator. And then finally, we have Antonio Linares, who is the Sales Manager for Iberia and North Africa at Iberia Airlines, the Spanish national carrier. So once again, thank you very much for being here. And well, the topic for this panel would be corporate travel. But maybe if you can go off topic if it comes to this point. But I would like to start with, I'm not going to quote, but I preparing this panel yesterday, I was reading the Skift magazine, and one of the forecasts from the US Travel Association, who said that international corporate travel, business travel, will not recover fully, almost fully, until 2025. So the prognosis for the following years are good, but still we need some time to recover. So before we start with the trends for the future, I would like you to make a kind of a review of the year that just finished. So how's been 2022 been like, and how did your companies manage to recover from pre-pandemic data? Maybe Anna, can we start with you?
Well, your question just remind me to the very beginning, which was the pandemic, the lockdown, when we were receiving all those massive cancellations from clients, trying to apply that force majeure clause that we try to never use in contracts. We had the furlough, employees in furlough, staffing problems, but then by mid or the end of 2020, we just decided to bet all in and reopen the hotel, Madrid Marriott Auditorium, adapting procedures, social distance tactics, every single thing the client was demanding. So by 2021, we were able to surf the wave. And in 2022, we were having really great expectations, numbers pretty similar, or expected numbers pretty similar to pre-pandemic. However, we had Omicron wave hitting us. So in the very end, results were great, but I think we have much more to do for the coming year in order to achieve those results that we used to have before the pandemic. I will say we are about at 10% to achieve.
Okay.
So clearly, 2023 is the year in which the show must go on, and the best is yet to come, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
For us, it was 2022 was a very welcome year after what we've been through in the last couple of years. And for Sabre, our focus, or Sabre, which sounds very nice as well, for Sabre and Sabre, the focus was very much on two things. One was our own people, and how we take care of them, how do we support their well-being, because like every crisis, we knew that it would eventually be over and travel would be back. And secondly was our customers, because our customers were going through exactly the same thing that we were going through. And so our focus was very much on this. It has certainly been a very hard work, but I think our investments in technology, so last year, that was very important for us. Last year we spent more on technology, over $1.1 billion than we have ever spent. So we knew we needed to be ready, and we needed to be ready for our customers and for our suppliers when travel is completely back. and on to the next level.
Okay. Oscar?
Well, for us, we are new in the market. Actually, we started operations 2 months ago. So 2022 has been the year of preparing the launch of sales, which happened in September, preparing the launch of operations, which happened the 25th of November. So the part of 22 operating is quite small, but we have a very good feeling, very good feedback from this 2022. We notice a very increased and a growing interest for our product. We operate in the Spanish market, the most competitive high-speed market in the world, with 3 operators, 4 brands operating at the same time in some corridors. So once we started selling, we noticed this interest for this new product that we offer, product and service, and with the start of operations, the interest increased, and the feedback from the customers, those who have traveled in 2022, have been very good, with an NPS of 9. So this is really amazing as to start. So actually we are starting now. Is the moment for us. We are starting now. We are launching new routes this year. So the feedback from 2022 is impossible to be better. Very happy.
Oh, well, congratulations for
Thank
that
you.
achievement already from the start. Antonio, your perspective.
So thanks ITH for the opportunity to give us some input on these interesting questions, and to have the opportunity to reflect on the previous years and how we see things in the future with the rest of the team. I think I would highlight some of the things that have been mentioned here. We come from very different industries, but it is true that some of the underlying things that we've seen are very similar in each industry. The first thing I would like to put the focus on, it's obviously the people, and not only the people from Iberia or the aviation industry, but as well from all the sectors that play a role in tourism and trips. I think we had incredible difficult years throughout 2020 and 2021 specifically. We saw the light, or started to see the light in 2021. From Iberia perspective, we basically went from flying everything in February to flying 0 literally in March, and we had to basically decide on a flight-by-flight basis what did we want to fly in the upcoming 2 weeks. So we went from a model that we decided capacity twice a year to a model in which we decided what capacity had to be put depending on the situation of each country, the restrictions, the COVID, on a weekly basis and for the upcoming 2 weeks. So first focus on the people and the employees that have played a major role in surviving and played a role in connecting people that had to trip for medical things, had to connect people, and that has been a major thing. The second one, I agree with Salman and Oscar, customers. For us, it was very important to focus on what people could fly and how could they be flying. We had to be very flexible to provide the necessary trips so that people could reconnect. I think demand has come up very strong in 2022. That reflects that people wanted to fly. And in 2020 or 2021, we say sometimes, people could fly, could buy, could refurbish their house, or could buy some oven for their house. They couldn't fly. And in 2022, when we saw the release of those restrictions, we saw how every single customer wanted to fly. VFR, very fresh, friends and relatives, as well tourism, as well corporate. So that surge in demand, it's what we've seen in 2022, and it reflects that people wanted to fly. That's something that they missed a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, we can highlight in the end 3 lessons from the pandemic. One is taking care of your people, retain talent, which is scarce, and we will see that in the future. Also, of course, keep paying attention to our customers and be there for them. And then I think the tourist industry as a whole showed our flexibility to adapt to a very strange situation, all of us, and different perspectives of the sector. So I think we behaved quite well, and after what went on. Okay, so 2022 was, in the end, was great. Yesterday, or a few hours ago, was released the figures from tourist activity in Spain. It was a fantastic year because we had less visitors comparing to 2019, but we had more money in comparison. So relatively, we had more money. So people who came spend more, which is, I suppose, is the goal where we go, all of us. And this is this process of going premium. There's a trend, of course, in this tourist industry, but it was mainly leisure activity, not so much about corporate travel. And then, of course, we have to talk about Zoom and Teams and all these webinars and blah, blah, blah. How is this affecting the transformation of corporate travel? Do you think, what are we going to see in this year and the following years, and the impact of these new technologies, which are, in the end, diminishing the amount of business trips that we are taking? Again, we can go the same flow, yeah.
So I'm just going to give maybe a perspective from MICE. We are really used to have big conventions now, once again, big events, but the trend goes on the line of those attendees staying longer and before the event. So we are much more than ever talking about leisure. We have to focus maybe on those shoulder dates of the event or the core services they are requesting, because on those shoulders we are probably finding a niche in which we can sell much more, but on a different way. We are definitely talking to the same client, but a completely different target on those before and after dates. They are looking for different kind of services, different kind of locations and experiences. So almost from the MICE perspective, I will say that focusing on those aspects, we will be able to upsell this client and cross-sell definitely.
So we actually asked this question last year to our customers, and we did a survey. So 500 of our customers globally, which is essentially agencies, travel agencies, both online and offline, responded back. And there are three trends that were clearly articulated. One, as Anna has just said, that there is a very clear need and trend to combine business travel and leisure. And in fact, I was reading another survey where 90% of the millennials, which are now dominant in the workforce, have actually combined work, business travel and leisure travel in the last 1 year. So this is no longer sort of a trend in the future, this is now. The second very clear trend was this absolute need for personalization by both the agencies and by the end traveler. And what that meant is that each one of us has hundreds of selves, right? The weekend self, the work self, the leisure self, the family self, the friend self. But we have all of these hundreds and hundreds of personas on any given month. And the end users are very clear that they don't want to just have one or two of their selves involved in their search and decision making. They want their suppliers, agencies in this case, to know their entire self. So that need for personalization has just grown exponentially. And then third, and a very clear agenda was sustainability. It is very clear, and especially in Europe, that need for making sustainable choices came out loud and clear.
Okay, great that you raised that up. We will go deeper into sustainability afterwards. Oscar?
Yes, well, I do agree about the leisure concept. It's here to stay. It's not a trend anymore, so nothing to add on that. About trends that we've detected when we were design the product, we work together with customers. I can say that a customer has been responsible for the product and services we offer, so I'm very proud of that. And we've detected some needs, more than trends, some customer needs that were not being covered at the moment. Flexibility is one of them. So all the months previous to our launch, when preparing the product for the start of sales, this is our bet, not flexible tickets, only flexible tickets, because everything is changing, everything has changed after the pandemic, our lives changed, our needs changed continually, and flexibility is a must, and this is something that we wanted to cover globally. So our tickets are flexible. Of course, we are talking about rail, we are talking about commuters that come back and forth. We are trying to cover also the new needs of these big companies that offer home office. It's very interesting to check, working with in the rail sector, that before the pandemic, Friday was one of the busiest days for trips, for trains. Friday, Sunday, and now it's Thursday. What happened then? So many workers, many commuters go back home on Thursday and do home office on Friday. So this is something we detected while working with the operations, and so that's flexibility is a must, because home office is not always the same day. So you need flexibility together with comfort, and also again talking about the rail sector, the possibility to work on a train. So this is something that the customers have told us, and it's something that we've added to our value proposal when launching the sales. So I think flexibility is here to stay.
Antonio, we can also work on your planes.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would totally agree with some of the very interesting points that have been raised by my colleagues on the table. I would say that at the end of the day, I don't see that if we separate the types of traffic, VFR, leisure, and corporate, I wouldn't think that those three are completely independent. At the end of the day, the people that want to travel and have realized how important it is to travel, it is to see their families, it is for leisure, but as well the people that manage the companies, they've seen as well the benefits of seeing each other and having that people traveling to make deals, do coaching, see the other people, the other teams, etc., etc. I would highlight probably one other thing, that is the mice that Anna was mentioning, and I think the mice as an element that is going to help the corporate travel, because people have realized that at the time of having their employees disconnected, a way of defending and protecting their talent and the risk of having those people exiting their companies, they want to have events to reconnect their people. And these have been raised by many of the corporates that we've been visiting over the last months, and they state that. I mean, the profile of the corporate travel might change, as Salman said, completely agree with that. That might be leisure, there might be more combining leisure and business travel, there might be MICE, there might be, but there's gonna be a net effect of all those different types of traffic that at the end of the day, I think it's gonna be, it's gonna trigger more demand for us as providers to be more flexible, to have more elements or tools that we didn't have in 2019, but at the end of the day, the net effect, I think, is going to be probably not as in 2019, but close to 2019. I'm pretty optimistic about that.
Okay, so we can say that tourism is going hybrid. So we have those different personas during the same trip, and also destinations have to cater to these growing necessities of the traveler. But nevertheless, even though, because we were quite pessimistic, 2021, of course, 2022, we were a bit pessimistic, and in the end, the results were way better than expected. But it still is difficult to make forecasts for 2023. So which are the key factors for you to determine offer and pricing for, at least for this year? Rates go up, how much capacity, how do you see that? Maybe you can now change and start with Antonio the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, like the forecasting, it's always difficult, especially when we speak about future, no? and I think it's difficult to understand how, in a very granular manner, everything is going to behave. We are moderately optimistic about travel industry in general and corporate travel. I think that we will need to adapt things at a much higher speed due to the pandemics, and I think some of the things that we are in a very speedy manner putting in place were things that we were already thinking of doing in 2019. So I think it has been an abrupt change, but I think those are the things that we were already being asked to do in 2019. I think there's like geopolitics. Now we know the disruptions that are happening in Lima, in Peru. There's a war happening like very close to us, unfortunately, and these are things that might play a role. But we are moderately optimistic in the sense that we are seeing how people still wanna fly, and we see all point of sales, all regions in general wanting to fly, all different types of traffic, corporate, etc., etc. So I think like it is more on how we respond to this quick change of habits on the customers, that they'll be more demanding and more quick. But it is more on how we respond to that rather than if the demand is going to be there, because we think it is.
Okay, good to know.
Well, we are, for 2023, we are very optimistic as well. We have a challenging year. As I said before, we are in the high-speed rail sector in Spain now with 4 brands is highly competitive. So price is going to be one of the key factors during this year. Also, because of the economical situation and the environmental situation. But we are very optimistic because we've seen a growing demand in the corridors where there've been an increase of operators. That's the Madrid-Barcelona route, for example. There's been increased demand with values over 2019, so this is good for us, it's an opportunity for us. Also is recovered in Valencia, Madrid-Valencia, that we also operate. And then we start, the 21st of March, we start operating the south to Andalusia. There, the demand has not grown. It's under the values of 2019. So for us, it's a great opportunity because we are starting, and I think we're going to help for the demand to grow and to be able to offer our services. We have a very challenging year with these 4 players in the same market, but we are very optimistic. A lot of work to be done still in operations, in sales, in marketing, in brand awareness, but very optimistic and with a lot of energy.
Yeah, I certainly share the optimism of my colleagues in 2023. And I think we're seeing the demand from both corporate agencies, travel agencies, and leisure agencies. And it's by a factor of, of 10 in terms of, their end users, their end customers of the demands on them. And it's not, and as you said, Antonio, that it's the demand of it's not just X, it's and in fact our prospects that we are speaking to as Sabre customers is larger than it has ever been in the last 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So agencies are certainly looking for a change, and this is a time for the bold and the brave to drive that digital transformation that was on the agenda but might not be front of the agenda of many of the agencies. But now it's definitely at the forefront.
So I totally agree with what my colleagues were saying. We are optimistic in the industry. However, in the hospitality area, we'll say we are still a little bit conservative when doing the annual budget. From my perspective, once again, I will say there's one key factor, which is a hesitant demand. We are receiving the same amount of RFPs we used to receive pre-pandemic, same request, but definitely different size, with different kind of services, reducing budgets. They are also changing the final details of every single request because corporations are not completely confident about when doing events and when not, about budgets. These, along with the rising prices of fuel, inflation, give us an uncertainty that we have to manage somehow. It's our responsibility to somehow optimize all those elements. And from the hotel perspective, I think that we have to take one partner, which is technology. That's the moment to nurture our leads, manage our leads in an efficient way. And for MICE and for big events, technology is helping us a lot to advise, inform the client, to make them feel confident. Just giving an example, a virtual site inspection can convert much more than normal calls. So using technology, we can somehow increase sales. And talking about rates, would like to highlight as well the client is not overwhelming about rising prices, but definitely they are going to come in with different expectations. There's something else we have to do for them, not only providing a standard products and the same we were given, because since we are making them spend more money, we will have to give them more.
Okay, so they expect to spend more, but also expect more from the service and from companies. And you also mentioned technology, so this perfect cue to go on with the chat and then talking about technology. And for example, Sabre, Salman has extensively communicated the new normal and the importance of technology and how technology can allow you to better navigate these necessities, the needs from clients. So is technology going to allow you to be more efficient, to personalize service? Someone you can start here.
Yeah, I'd love to start. So the answer to that is absolutely yes. In fact, when automation is the key, because based on our research and our findings of our customers, again, both corporate and leisure agencies, we find that, for example, using our automation hub, the typical workflow of an agency can be automated by 70%. And that is 70% more time that agent and that interface can then spend with that customer in adding that personalized value. So automation is key. And the second thing is that the extent of personalization that's required is humongous. And there is no one travel company that can actually solve this based on what the consumer wants. And I'd just like to highlight briefly here the exclusive partnership that we have with Google, where we are using best of breed AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning to actually not just create this as a tool, but actually embed this in the workflow so that the interaction, the interface, the workflows become like extremely intuitive. So huge potential, and I think we are just scratching the surface. And I think the travel industry has a lot of catch up to do here in being able to deliver what is expected.
So you guys, how are you catching up with technology in your companies?
I mean, definitely. I think I completely agree with Salman. I think just to give you a couple of examples, the other day we were speaking with revenue management team. There's other people that basically do the booking curves and try to say at each moment which would be the price that you have to charge in each point. And I don't remember exactly the numbers exactly, but I think they were saying like 20, 15 years ago we used to have like 4, 5, 6 different prices. Now on a Madrid, New York, you can have like 60 different prices. And that's only speaking about prices, not even speaking about like all the different ancillaries these people could get at it. So at the end of the day, you have like a multiplication of different things that attributes preferences that the customers can have. Prior to pandemic, I was saying like we used to prepare capacity twice a year. We used to do that throughout the pandemic on a weekly basis. And then we used to see daily bookings to make decisions. So I think these are just 3 examples, but basically that highlight what Salman was saying regarding the need to be more agile, use technology to make decisions in a better way and to serve customers in a better way.
I do agree. Actually, well, technology, we live in a world of technology. Technology is what we need to get the data, to get customer needs about pricing, of course, to check the price elasticity, for example, of the customers, to check what they consume, what they do not consume, to help us improve the product and services. So this is key, but also to be able to offer. As we are a new company, we just created a new e-commerce, so a new type of service. So for example, be able to change your ticket, once again talking about flexibility, be able to change your ticket from your app. This is something we created from the beginning because flexibility we consider that is part of nowadays life. So being able to change your ticket yourself quickly, immediately. Also to choose the menu. We have, in our trains, we have 4 options for meals that you can change. You can choose you can decide if you want at your table, if you want to be a delivery. We have a delivery on board, for example. So this brings us to personalization. So the possibility to change everything and to choose everything at the same time. We started working with this concept, whatever, whenever, no, and bringing the customer the possibility to do it himself, no, themselves. So this technology always helps to get all the data and also for the delivery. So yeah, I do agree with all these comments.
Anna?
So technology for a hotel as a key partner, I think at this time can be used rather, as I mentioned before, to help us increase sales or conversion. Doing a virtual site inspection, you will be able to provide much more information to the client that you can do with a normal call or an email, and definitely you will be able to show the advantages of your product. With this given and said, not only the virtual site inspections are here to stay, but the metaverse option as well. There are really nice projects coming to the industry. We are currently playing, I will say, with our twin hotel in the metaverse, which is also helping us to do immersive site inspections to approach our product to the final client, which in the end is the one taking the decisions and not the agency or intermediary, the one with we normally talk to. So technology is just making us going one step forward, and it's going to help us definitely to convert those leads.
Well, you just mentioned metaverse. When do you see, guys, that metaverse will actually be a thing for the industry?
We are trying. Actually, I have another panel of my colleague, David Kosein, from the hotel as well, in the other stage. Just if you want to hear about much more, he will be there for you.
Okay, so I think we will expect more and more technology going towards that seamless experience that we are all expecting in our business trips. So finally, the last block will be about sustainability. Of course, it's a fundamental topic for the industry itself. We have gained a bit of a bad reputation, especially certain parts of the industry, for the pollution and emissions that generate our industry. But I think we are being quite fast in trying to adapt our processes, and also the communication, the narrative of the tourism industry has improved a lot. But in which way do you see the change from the industry adapting to and trying to modify your companies to adapt to this new reality? How are you working on it? Antonio, for
Shall we
example.
start? When you were saying, like, especially some part of the industry, you're looking at
More
airlines.
cruise industry.
So
cruise
I might be the first one. Look, I think that I think sustainability has to be in the ADN of of every single company, and obviously airlines as well. I think it is fair to say that I think we have to split the conversations in two angles. The first one is like what are airlines doing for sustainability, and there has to be like an aspiration of being better every single day, and this is like a problem for our descendants that we have to work on very hard and reinvent ourselves on a almost daily basis. I think from Iberia perspective, what we've tried to do is first like work on equipments, like which equipments we have that pollute the most. Back in April 2020, when we didn't even know when the recovery was going to take place, we got rid of all the 34600s, which are aircraft that have 4 engines instead of 2, and we said, look, we might be we might be lacking aircrafts when the demand recovers, but we have to make this decision. So we have to be blunt about those. In IAG, we've been the first group in the aviation industry that we said that by 2050 would have like 0 net emissions, and in 7-year time, in 2030, we're going to be having 10% of the fuel that we consume is going to be SAF, which has like obviously like a very reduced net emission. So I think we're doing things that are part like on a daily basis to the decisions we make. I think there's the other angle of the conversation is what we do jointly, and I think this cannot be only part of the discussion from airlines, because we cannot be flying. Our aircrafts are not going to be Teslas from one day to the other, and this has to be a wider conversations. We cannot be charged with taxes before the solutions have arrived. So what has happened in France, for me, it doesn't make any sense at all, because that disrupts the industry. Our aviation industry is part of the GDP of the countries, and we cannot like disrupt that before the solution comes. We have to jointly think about that. We cannot be thinking only on Europe basis. So these taxes cannot be part of Europe. This had to be a joint discussion on what OACI does for a joint perspective. How, from a European perspective, we can have like a better single skies discussion, that because of the construction of the itineraries that we do, it could be reducing 10% of the fuel consumption. So I think there has to be things that need to be made on an individual basis from airlines, from aviation industry groups such as IAG and such as the way we are doing things. But honestly, I think we have to be there have to be like a joint discussion on how things are tackled, not only from a specific aviation.
Of course, and I think you are investing a lot on, especially on SAF and the sustainable aviation fuels, rather than other hydrogen or electricity, which I don't know, it's very, very long run.
Exactly.
So you are investing a lot, and all the airlines, and even the cruise industry, which has even a worse reputation. I think they are also investing a lot of money, there. And I think even if we have to pay 1 to 5 euros more to fly, we will keep flying. We will keep flying because we love traveling, and there's another lesson from the pandemic, that we want to keep flying and enjoying experiences. In your case, Oscar, Iryo?
Well, in our case, first of all, sustainability is here to stay. This is the present, it's not the future anymore. So that's a good news. We detected concern in travel agencies, in companies, about sustainability for business travel. So this is a good news. What can I say? Our trains are sustainable. The train is the most sustainable means of transport after walking and cycling. So we are sustainable by nature. But it's true that when we started thinking of what type of train we wanted to have in our company, we wanted new trains created with the latest technology in sustainability. So our trains are made with 20% of raw materials that are recycled raw materials, and the train is 95% recyclable at the end of its life. So it's a jewel in terms of sustainability. But also it's the only train in the world with EDP, it's an environmental product declaration. So it has a certificate, EDP certificate, that means that contains the let's say the CO2 in minimum. So it's almost 100% sustainable. But this is, I think, is not enough. Brands and companies, we have a responsibility with society. So when you are already sustainable, almost 100% sustainable, I think we need to go beyond. This is why from the beginning, from the product design and from the compromise we have with sustainability, we wanted to go further, and we started thinking of how to involve the customers, our future customers at that time, in our compromise with sustainability. So we started thinking of the idea of creating a forest, an intelligent forest. This is what we are creating these days, and involving our customers in growing this forest. So we have an add-on in our purchase process that customers can contribute to create this forest, because of course the trip is sustainable, but when you go to a city and you stay there for 2 days, you leave carbon footprint somehow, so it's a way to compensate that and to make everything 100% sustainable. And I think the value of this is how to involve customers in this compromise. And for us, I think it's a step forward. It's a step beyond with the society.
Okay, Salman, your insights.
Yes,
I would like to,
please.
since Oscar from Iryo just mentioned, and I think it is very important that we, when we speak, when we are seen as alternative ways of transport, I always say that we want railways to be more efficient. We want railways to have better connections to Madrid. We want the train station to get into the airport, because we think that there's specific regions that are connected by a train in 2 hours, where we have 1 hour, and we don't want to compete in that manner with the rest. So we have conversations with Iryo, we have conversations with Renfe. We have a train and fly product that basically tries to connect better. What we need is the infrastructures, again, from a global manner, to serve for that purpose. So we don't want to compete with AVE in a city that is connected
We can collaborate
efficiently.
perfectly.
Exactly. So again, this is another example of where we can work together better. But again, we need like a global perspective and focus on the problems that we have today, which is like the high-speed train doesn't get into the airport, and it's a pain in the neck, sorry to say that manner, to basically connect Valencia, Madrid, and Madrid, Sao Paulo, with Iryo, Renfe, or Iberia, because there's people that have to do a connection that is not efficient.
Yep.
So these are, sorry to say
No,
that
it's
it's
of course.
insidious
And, speaking about seamless travel experience, we need that intermodality and all the different parts of the value chain all interconnected, and also GDS like Sabre can help us a lot in this process, of course.
I'm glad that this dialogue happened before I answered the question, because that's exactly what Sabre needs to solve for. And so I'd like to answer this question in two parts. One is what we've already done, and secondly, and more importantly, what we need to do and what we are working on. So what we've already done is very simply that as the marketplace, as the platform for personalized travel, that we clearly outline the carbon footprint that the choice that the end user makes is having. So we very clearly already have the tools. It's already embedded in our different technology platforms to give that view to the customer. So that's already done, and that's available now. The second piece is the journey is the importance of this is only going to grow. And what we're working again with with Google on, who we have an exclusive travel partnership with, is how do we embed that in with a lot more complexity in how travel is searched and how that offer is created. So it's not just an end result that shows up, but it is actually front and center of how even that personalized offer is created. And that's where the real, I think, excitement and impact happens. And that, I think, will enable what my colleagues here, Antonio and Oscar, were talking about.
Fantastic.
Well, talking about sustainability, when you are facing the demand of corporate accounts or big clients, I have to say that they are not only worried about sustainability, but about CCR globally. Corporate social responsibility is becoming a must, and it's reporting as well. What they are demanding, they want to know which is the exactly impact of their travels when they are staying in your hotel. They want to know which is the carbon footprint. They want to know which are the spends on creating that event, that experience, because non-financial information is becoming much more important than ever. So not only about sustainability, but about that social part, that workplace, those human rights, taking all of them into account, we can sometimes prepare really interesting reportings for these corporate accounts that they are going to use for compliance purposes as well. So definitely not only about sustainability, but about all of them.
Well, it would be great if those picky customers have the same behavior at home as what they have when they are at their hotels and flying and going, because sometimes they expect something that they don't do at home. So, well, we run out of time. Thank you very much, the panelists, for your time. I think it's been great and very optimistic feeling for all of us. Of course, we have to tackle certain problems, but we will prosper in the following 3 months, and I hope, and I wish you great success for all of you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much.